This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to a victorious edition of the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. And everyone just breathe a big sigh of relief. Just such a much-needed win for the Rays, and we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about how there were still some really, really bad decisions in this game, but the Rays were still able to come out on top, mostly because they were due for some good luck. I mean, a lot of breaks went the Rays' way in this one. I was talking about how Boyle was just absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of injury concerns that we have to discuss, and we're going to look ahead to the Rays series against the Tigers. But first, we got to talk about what a gritty win that it was for the Rays.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And it's how this team, regardless of what happened, right? Today, they blow a lead for the third straight game. You know what the Rays record coming into this game was when leading after 8 innings? 40-1. Well, now it's 41-1. They didn't lose. But the ability for the Rays to not pout, right? To not hang their heads and come out in the 10th and really dominate in that 10th inning was just absolutely massive and essential for the Rays to come out on top. So, when you look at this game, it was basically the same story. For one batter into the bottom of the first inning for the Twins, and it's all of a sudden 1-0. And it was quite possibly the worst possible start for the Rays. Sorry, they just announced the all-star pitchers. That's why I'm looking over here. Drew Rasmussen was not named an all-star. Real quick, it's kind of breaking news. The all-stars for the American League is Hunter Brown, Chris Bubik for the Royals, Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Crochet, Jacob deGrom, Max Fried, Josh Hader, Yuseki Kukachi. Oh, I'm butchering that name. I know his name too. The guy from the Angels. Andres Munoz for Seattle, Tarek Skubal for Detroit, who'll probably start. Shane Smith from the White Sox, and Brian Wu from the Mariners as well. So, sorry, I got a notification that some of the All-Star things were getting announced. So I just wanted to bring you guys that live. But anyway, let's get back talking about the game, and we'll jump right into talking back about the game with this turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's the top of the 10th inning. It's mostly Yandy Diaz lacing that double, and Andy Fried said it on the broadcast. You would need to get one, right? That's the bare exception, but you really need to get two in order to feel comfortable going in the bottom of the 10th. And what happened in the bottom of the 10th? The Twins were able to score a run, and maybe if the Rays only scored one run, would be going to the top of the 11th. But when you look at what Yandy was able to do, and what's he do best? He goes to right field and center. And what did he do with that double? Right in the right field gap. Just absolutely demolished. And then the Rays not settling. And this kind of leads into, but we're going to talk about way more at length later, the Rays finally getting a few breaks, right? And Cabby puts it down to bunt. I thought Cabby played fantastic in his role today. Yes, he had the error, but how about his glove flip to end the game? I mean, that was just so money. Yandy, by the way, on that double, 105 off the bat. That was the fourth hardest hit ball of the game, behind Yandy Diaz's, who hit it another one at 109 during the game as well. So wanted to get that. So, and then the Rays keep adding, right? It kind of gets to a loose scramble. Cabby gets third. Junior has a job. It's 6-4. And they just keep on, they keep on going from there. Yandy was able to come around and score as well before that. But that not only adding two, but being able to add three, which takes away the Rays or the possibility for the Twins to tie in any capacity with the runners that were inherited on base. So it was a breath of fresh air to see the Rays not give up, kind of anchor down, and it starts with Yandy Diaz, who I've said for a while is the heartbeat of this team. So, going forward, it was so big for the Rays to get this win because you're going to Detroit, and Detroit has been one of the best teams in baseball, and they've been really good at home this year. I mean, they've been really good everywhere. Let's not kind of discredit Detroit, but We're going to break them down later, but the Tigers are 23 games over 500. They have won 3 in a row, and they have won 6 of 8. So, you're going kind of into the Hornets' nest, going up to Detroit, as Detroit at home is also 30-14, which is the best record in Major League Baseball at home. So, not too surprising there. The Blue Jays are actually insane at home as well. But let's talk about this game. We'll talk more about that later. Let's talk about still the bad decisions. Why Mason Montgomery was in the game in the 8th inning, and maybe it's not the best to talk about this 5 minutes into a win, but it's something that needs to be discussed, is another cardinal sin. A guy that pitched yesterday, you have Eric Orze available. We talked about yesterday how Byron Buxton just rakes lefties, and he actually were able to strike him out, ironically. But you get the fastballs where he's throwing them not in the backstop, he's throwing them in the netting. He's missing by so much. You get the walk to Castro, and then you kind of got to pitch around some stuff. And then you get to Bader, who apparently is a Rays killer. He wasn't when I believe he was in the American League East for a time. I could be mistaken. I know he's with the Mets last year, but I'm almost positive he's in the AL East. But who's been a Rays killer this series? He's hit 4 home runs in the 3 games. And yeah, he's with the Yankees. I knew it was the Yankees. I just wanted to double check before I said it. But and it just piles on. And of course, the one he hit out was, and BA did a great breakdown on it, how he pitched him in with the fastball, pitched him with the slider, and then he just saw the slider, and he threw another one, and he hung it right down the middle. And Bader didn't miss. But again, we talk about how the Rays were able to respond from that. And Kevin Cash actually made a really good move in the top of the 8th inning, putting Morel to first base with Danny Jansen. Danny Jansen doesn't score on that play. Morel does. So as much as we've gone on Kevin Cash lately, we still need to give him his flowers for some of the good decisions that he made as well. So definitely a much needed win for the Rays, and a much needed top of the 8th inning, which led to the unfortunate errors in the bottom of the 8th inning. And of course, the reason why the Rays were able to get such a big lead was because of Joe Boyle. But we'll talk about how the Rays were due for some good luck, how fantastic Joe Boyle was, and the injury concerns for the Rays so far. The injury concerns going forward to the All-Star break right after this. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings, planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. So you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And the best thing about Monarch Money to me is it targets the things that you're not using. So whether it's you're spending too much on DoorDash or Uber Eats, or you have subscriptions you don't use to streaming sites or whatnot, it targets those and shows how you can reinvest that money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. So let's talk about this Rays offense and how they were due for some good luck. And maybe good luck isn't the word, some breaks, which I guess it kind of leads to good luck. But when the Rays scored the 2 runs in the 8th, it was on 2 balls hit 61 miles per hour or less, which, again, the Rays were due for some of that luck because it feels like everything's been going against them this series. So it starts with Junior. Yeah, it starts with Junior hitting one right into the ground. And Morel, I think he would have been safe even if the catcher didn't drop the ball. Sticks his foot in, the Rays take the lead. And then Aranda, it was, let me see if they changed that, because it was a reward. It was given out as an error, and they did change it because, they said an infield single, but he scored on an error. I don't think that was, I think he would have scored anyway. I think Aranda should have gotten an RBI for that. Regardless, he still ended up with 2 RBIs on the day. So it was, then he had to have gotten an RBI for that because that was the only time he would have gotten one. Anyway, that's the official scorekeeper's problem, not ours. But it was those breaks that the Rays weren't getting. A lot of those times, those were just ground outs to the pitcher. The catcher holds on the ball, and Morel's out by half a step. And today, the Rays got those breaks. And, of course, the biggest one was Cabby with the bunt single turning into the mad dash to third base after a really poor job covering the bunt by Minnesota. But before we get to Joe Boyle, I want to talk about the guy that closed out the game for the Rays, and that's our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
It is Pete Fairbanks, and you guys know if you watched the last two postcasts, I was very big on Pete Fairbanks being in at the bottom of the ninth inning, and they brought him in. I thought a batter too late. Right when Montgomery walked that last guy, Pete needs to come in to face Bader, but that's besides the point. We know Pete has had trouble in the past. In fact, last year in Minnesota, he had trouble coming back out for a second inning, and he was so dominant in the bottom of the eighth. They brought him back out for the ninth, and he was fantastic once again. Just that calming presence that the Rays needed. He ended up going an inning in 2/3, picking up the win, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, and the 1 hit was with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, and he immediately retired Byron Buxton on a really good play by Junior getting over there. But so I wanted to shout out Pete Fairbanks before we talk about Joe Boyle. And Joe Boyle was fantastic once again, man. I mean, I really don't know how you send him down. 5 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts. He finished with 15 whiffs caused on the day. He was dominant. Like he really, really was. And for him to come, let me explain what Joe Boyle's been doing. So recently they have been pitching him behind an opener in Durham because they want to preserve Drew Rasmussen's innings, because Drew has not gone this far, has not thrown X amount of innings so far this season, or so far in his career. So far this year, Drew Rasmussen has thrown, I believe it will be 91 1/3 innings. His career high is 146 in 2022, and that's the only time he's gone over 77. Just to put in perspective, so the Rays are being ultra conservative with Drew Rasmussen's innings, and that's why you see Joe Boyle up, because it was needed for him to come in and preserve some of that game. And this is something that I thought the Rays might do with Shane McClanahan when we come back, and we actually talked about that a little bit. That when McClanahan comes back, you can use him as an opener and pitch someone behind him. That's why I don't think anyone's going to get traded or sent down when he comes back, because of what the Rays did today as they build Shane back up. Fingers crossed when he comes back, hopefully in August. So, Joe Boyle just ultra good. And, it's tough to come in and have your routine completely changed. I believe this is only the second, third time he's done this. He only did it once or twice in AAA, and to come up and do it at this level in a game where the Rays desperately needed, incredibly impressed with Joe Boyle in this game. But we got to talk about some of the injury concerns. Some positive. Hyun-Sung Kim is not going to need an IL stent, most likely. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for him to see how he wakes up. But if he is hurt, or if he is okay, then I think it'll be Kim at second, Taylor Walls at short, if Brandon Lau misses time, because it did not look good with Brandon Lau because of where he was grabbing. He's grabbing his oblique, and we know the issues he's had with that in the past, him and Josh Lowe both. And when Josh Lowe was out earlier this year, let me get his exact when he was out exactly. So he got hurt on opening day, and he was out for, he was out from the 28th of March to the 15th of May, so 6 weeks. So oblique is a 6-week injury. So if you're gonna get put on the IL, now is the kind of time to do it. I know Brandon Lau, hopefully, fingers crossed. I keep refreshing my phone to see if MLB has posted the AL reserves. Hopefully, Brandon Lau is going to be an all-star, and it will be tough for him not to be able to play in that game if he is one. But if he could kind of get that week, that's an extra week to rest, and maybe he only misses a month. This is obviously worst case scenario if he does go end up being an IL. They might be even saying stuff now. Kevin Cash might have given an update now, but definitely wanted to bring light to that, because it really looked like for a while nothing was going right for the Rays. Brandon Lau gets hurt, they're losing, they blow the lead, and it was nice to savor this win while still having massive questions about the bullpen, who is overworked and then some today. Because of what you said, Clevenger, Kelly, name your pitcher. And now Fairbanks and Montgomery and Orze might be able. He'll probably be able to pitch tomorrow. But it was easy to see if the Rays would have lost this game, all the negatives. So it's very much needed for them to win this game and still be able to see the positives. But let's look ahead to the game tomorrow for the Rays. As again, they go to Detroit, who has the best record winning percentage there. I think they're tied for second. And third, actually. They have 30 home wins. I think the Blue Jays and one other team, I think the Cubs, have 32. But still, if you go by winning percentage, the best winning percentage home team in baseball. And it would be a matchup I believe we saw earlier this year. It was Shane Baz versus Jack Flaherty. The Rays got on Flaherty big time when they played down at Steinbrenner. Flaherty's 5-9 with a 4.8 ERA. He's given up at least 3 runs and 4 straight starts. And in 2 of those starts, he's given up at least 7, including 8 earned and 2 1/3 versus the Rays. So he's pitching probably the worst he has all year. His past 2 starts has been better. It's been 5 hits, 3 runs, kind of with 7 or more strikeouts, including 9 strikeouts the last time out versus Washington. So he's been better in that department. But the Rays had massive success against him earlier this year when they played at Steinbrenner. And a lot of that was Yandy had a big day against him. He had a leadoff home run. Curtis Mead actually had a big day against him. That was when Mead went crazy. Yandy actually hit 2 home runs that game, but not against Flaherty. But Flaherty actually was against Flaherty. No, it wasn't. That's when Taylor Walls had that big bases loaded clearing double after Detroit made it, because Riley Green is a menace, made it 7-3. But and then Shane Baz, we know how good Shane Baz has been lately. He's discovered a cutter, or not discovered. He's rethrown a cutter. He's 8-3 with a 4.3 ERA, and I know he's got a lot of run support. But his last time out, he went 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, and 11 strikeouts. He was fantastic. And the time before that, 8 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs. And against Detroit, he went 5 1/3, ended up giving 5 earned, but he pitched much better than his stat line showed. And so his last 4 starts, he's been fantastic. So hopefully Shane Baz can continue to build on that. And let's go to the comments as I refresh one time. And here are the American League reserves, as the Rays do get 2 All-Stars. Much needed. Jonathan Aranda is an All-Star. Shout out Jonathan Aranda. Alex Bregman is an All-Star, but Alex Bregman is probably going to be hurt, so that will probably maybe turn into Junior Caminero, hopefully. Byron Buxton is an All-Star. Jazz Chisholm is an All-Star. Alonzo Kirk is an All-Star. Stephen Kwan, Brandon Lau, 2-time All-Star. Super, super happy for Brandon Lau. Just much, much, much deserved for Brandon Lau. And Brent Rooker gets the backup DH spot over Yandy Diaz. I think it's kind of ridiculous that A's get 2 All-Stars with the season that they're having, but it is what it is. The Rays do have 2 All-Stars, and Brandon Lau, much deservedly so. Glad he gets the recognition he deserved. Brandon Lau is an All-Star. So I wanted to give you guys that news before we get to just some of these comments, as I've rambled a little bit too long today. As we go to Luke, who brings up a really good point here. Cash's constant refusal to use Orze in high leverage unless he's absolutely forced to. Such a joke. I'm not a Kevin Cash hater at all, but it's getting ridiculous. That's kind of my thought exactly. I wouldn't say I don't like using the word like joke or something, but it's definitely I'd love to ask him about it. Why he's not. Why it's a matchup thing. What he's seeing. What Kyle Snyder's seeing. What's the analytics saying that bring him to pitch Montgomery instead of Orze there. But yeah, it's definitely. I'm not a Kevin Cash hater. I'm actually a Kevin Cash supporter. You guys know this, but yeah, it is definitely peculiar to see. But as we go to Gary, he says a game that the Rays need to win badly. It wasn't easy, but they got it done. Great job to see Pete Fairbanks and Eric Orze close it out. Love the move bring up Joe Boyle. Really interested to see with him going forward. Hopefully they bring him up. So Dante Hamilton said, just glad to get a win, much needed. I'm in the same exact boat. So I love Lego said, good evening. I just got back from the UK. I'm glad we got a W. We're happy to have you back. Glad we brought Joe Boyle back once again. I am too. It was much, much needed. As we go, Tim Riley says, let's go Rays. Big win. Huge win. Gary Glasgow says, salvage the series. They needed to in the biggest way. As we go to Gary says, the Toronto Blue Jays have won 7 in a row. I think it's 8 in a row now. On the other end of the spectrum, the Cleveland Guardians have lost 10 games in a row. Yeah, Cleveland, a team that was in the ALCS last year. So, yeah, a lot of we have got some more comments about if Brandon Lau goes on the IL. Let me actually quickly see, real quick, before we get out of here, if Mark Tompkin tweeted anything about if Cash has said anything about Brandon Lau, as he has not. So, you guys will have to look to wherever you get your news, Twitter, the Tampa Bay Times newspaper, or whatever, to give an update on Brandon Lau and his injury. So, or maybe if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'll also retweet out. So if you guys want that update, go follow me on Twitter. Shameless plug. But again, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Went a little long talking about the game, but it was a game that deserved a lot of discourse because of what the Rays had to go through to get the win. So much needed Rays win. We'll worry about the injuries and stuff tomorrow, but for right now, I'll worry about it, especially the bullpen later on. But right now, enjoy this win. The Rays desperately needed it. If you look at I can't believe the Blue Jays are 3 games up on the division. It's just shocking. They're playing good ball. But, the Rays are still 3.5 games up in a playoff position. So it's been doom and gloom. But man, if you had told me going into the All-Star break, the Rays would have been 3.5 games up. I know there's still 7 games to play, but the Rays would have been 3.5 games. If you had told me going into the last week before the All-Star break, the Rays would have been 3.5 games up on a playoff spot, I would have taken that every single day in the week and twice on today, Sunday. So if you guys are in the live, make sure you guys leave a like and comment. If you guys are just joining the live now, make sure to go back and watch the beginning because we had a lot of good discussion talking about this absolute gritty win from the Rays. But the Rays, no off days until the All-Star break. So I'll be with you every game except for maybe one because my flight got changed coming back from Europe. So I will keep you guys updated with that as we get closer to that day. But for now, Rays win. I'll be here tomorrow, hopefully talking about another Rays win in Detroit. See you guys then.